Alright, then. Wow, that's so cool, bro. You're first. Yeah. Let's hear your theories. Yep, I have to do something first. Alright, I'm back, guys. I apologize for the inconvenience. So, my theories. I already heard that 7 and 8 that are going to be one of the longest episodes of the entire series. As number lore is already longer than alphabet lore. It clocked on the longest episode when 3 came out. And 7, to what I've heard, or what everybody else has heard, is that it's going to be... What's up, bro? What I heard about 7 is that it's a long and unsplittable storyline, and I'm guessing that it's going to take place right after 6 shows them the silhouette of 7. Something's going to come out and, just say 7. And then turn around at 6, angry, and 6 is just scared. Which, of course, is the direct callback to why 6 is afraid of 7. 7 asks 6 why they were summoned, and 6 says that the hands are after them, but she thinks that they're gone now. And then 7 mentions something about 8, which is into which my theory is the hands belong to 8 because, they did this. So then 7 sighs and then sees F. F is just shocked. And then there's a battle between 7 and F. And then shortly after that, P then sees that they are not so far from 0. The hands, though, I do not know what would happen, but I don't think we'll be able to see what happened to G during episode 7, because episode 6 is set to follow multiple storylines. And G being kidnapped is one of them. I can't really think of anything else. So after a battle between that, they see that they're close to 0. Seven then has to go because stuff. So he jumps back and so 7 jumps inside of 6 and hi. So 7 jumps back inside of 6 and disappears. Seven is then seen like walking or like running using his hypnotizing powers. And he talks to an unknown character who is not seen on screen and just says, "Shavin!" And then shows the number of the footage. And so the number that we don't see on screen or shadow of, you can just only hear walking. And then it's inserted inside of this machine, and it shows a calculator chip on the screen on its way to 0, and that's AP continued. Now, AP continued is said to follow multiple storylines, so as it shows the calculator chip, it zooms out and, goes to Z. One's still there, just looking up at the sky where the calculator ship had left planet C. He then looks down and then just, oh my god! And he sees a giant S swarming around eating all the gems on planet Z. He's starting to get shocked here, and he's getting scared. So he calls the 5 army to attack the S, but they only get eaten. Then they see D, who is obviously a threat. So D has to run even further inside of S, making him further from the mouth. And then the 5 army gets so big it kills S. And then we see what happens to R, who, believe it or not, with 4's powers, 7 is actually hypnotizing 4 with using her eyes. And R feels like he's claustrophobic and can't get out. I know. And when he tries, and then he finally gets out, and then sees like, whoa! He just sees the big tower, F's cave everywhere. Then Q just comes speeding towards him and throws him up, and they're just going past dead ass, all that stuff. Meanwhile, X is there just lying like down on the lower part of the sea, just depressed. And then he notices something about martial art, and he realizes that he needs to tell the other letters about that, so he starts running karate mode. Meanwhile, back in the bunker, Ice sees that there's martial. Ice learns about all of these things in the bunker and how it can help them out with defeating the numbers. Over time, the letters inside the bunker use I's pack before it runs out of battery and dies. Imagine every single letter appears in number lore 8, and every number, excluding 9 and 0. I doubt Z will return on 7 because instead it's a long and unsplittable storyline. Meanwhile, with the hands. I already told you, it's a long and unsplittable storyline. It's most likely to follow the calculator ship again. Then it'll follow Z in the next episode. Better continue. Oh, an unpopular theory, moth eggs also hatch. Yes. Alright, back to the thing. Kay will most likely die because I didn't make this theory up in the first place. Lavender Spear did. And then there'll be a bunch of them. Kay's moth eggs hatch out, CX. They bring them to the bunker. The martial arts and stuff. And then, they have an entire army of stuff. They're prepared to battle. Back on the calculator ship, I feel like the calculator ship would be skipped in this episode. So I'm going to go next. I'm going to go to where the hands are. And G is starting to get bored, so he starts punching the hands. Yeah, I know. Z has screen time. Z has appeared in every episode except for 6. They've ruined it. They said, how about we make Z absent for the very first time? And that came true. But does not prevent it from having letters on screen. So G just starts punching the hands, and then the hands go back even faster. And the hands land and they do not connect to 7. They don't connect to 7. Instead, they both make the 8 sign, and G then looks up and then sees 8. 8 realizes that this is not 6, so he gives it to 7, who instantly eats the guy. And then G's just stuck in this backrooms like thing. Also, take note that there's gonna be like a bunch of lore dropping about like Z's story, like Z's star, all that stuff. There'll be backstories about like Z and his star. Like, how is Z supposed to like work as a planet without orbiting a big star? Stop giggling. I don't know how that's gonna be showing off how the letters were born. They just have Zooble with each other. Yeah, GNP just did the Zooble. GNP were just doing the Zooble and Gangle Digital Circus episode 9 to have the baby G. If you think of it clearly. Bit disturbing. Meanwhile, 8 just goes and takes the hand and... Yeah, and each episode gets longer. It's probably going to be the longest out of all the series. Heck, season 3 is probably going to be about, I'd say... 40 minutes. If that's gonna go wild, nah, bro. Nine be continued, I guess. 8 sees the memory thing, and then sees a calculator ship arriving to the planet 0 with 7, and then realizes that 6 might have finally arrived back to 0 after trying to escape them. Then it's 9B continued. Finally, everybody's starting to learn. People are learning now. People are actually starting to learn. The hands belong to 8. 8 probably has the ice powers. It makes so much sense. Yet nobody knows that the ice powers is actually a joke. I can't do anything about the ice powers thing. Everybody thinks it's canon. We must end it. We must delete the videos. We must delete the "Isn't they lovely?" Anyway, let's continue talking. 9B continued. It's back to planet Z again. But this time, they're gonna just be having a battle between the numbers. The Clone 5s die. 2 dies. 4 dies. 3 dies. And 5 dies. And then 1 realizes he's the only one left. So he retreats. He retreats and calls for number 9. But realizes that he doesn't have his pack. And his pack is straight up dead. And then X gets his powers again, and they start beating up 1 like they do in episode 2. And this time he's super severely injured. And then Bootleg 2 just somehow comes to life and then starts beating up 1. And then 1 seems to be dead. Only for what seems to be his body to be transferred up into space. And they look up and wonder where they went. 1 then appears in front of 9, who puts him in top of it, and on top of the message, on top of 1's corpse, 9 puts a code that says, in binary code, "You have failed to find X. You lose. 0 be continued." Now we're in the final. One other thing zero is the letters finally arrive on zero, and G is already fully grown up. They kill 7, they kill all the numbers. I don't know, I'm starting to get bored of this, and I don't even know what's gonna happen. Like, the plot's getting already deep to a point, I can't even make a prediction right. Zero, the numbers die. Z's moons are fixed. Z star resets all of time. And zero is just destroyed for good. Post-credit scene. One's flying in space, just dead. The end. I don't even know any other theories. You have failed to find X. I mean, his entire reason why he went to planet Z was just to find X. And fun fact, Y, M, X, and B right next to each other is actually from the linear slope Y equals MX plus B. Which is something you'd see on a graph with the X. M is the slope, X, Y equals the slope. Y equals, never mind. You have failed to find X. You have failed to find X. Zero be continued. I still haven't made my E prediction yet. D. Okay. I really think 2 is going. The original 2 is going to die. In some episode. I'm just getting confused about the war now. I don't even know how it's going to end. Goo goo ga. Goo. Ga goo goo ga. Ga goo goo ga. That is P in Morse code. Alright. I don't really have any more number theories, so... guess the episode. This one should not be so hard to guess. Yeah, it's not that hard. Nobody knows Nobody knows the episode. When is episode 7 coming out? How about late 2026? How about Number Lore 7 comes out late 2026, says Mike. Those who work for Mike's team know all of the plots. If I were to work for Mike's team, I wouldn't be active on YouTube at all. I never will be a part of Mike's team, unfortunately. Which is a bit sad and unfortunate. Okay. Explain why 1 is blue.
Shaman blue, guys.
How can we have another blue character? We already have a blue character, which is 1. I have to end the stream anyways.